Hello, my name is Jackie O'Quinn. I'm a trainer with Destiny Global. Myself, Miss Carmen O'Quinn, or Mr. Ken Brown is here every other week here on the Facebook page with Destiny Global, giving you a success tip that is designed to help you grow your income, live a better, more fulfilling life, be able to reach that next promotion, whether it's on the job, whether it's in your business, or maybe it's a next promotion in life. Maybe it's about promoting your, leveling up your mindset. But it's always about giving you applicable skills to help you level up where you're at today to where you want to go. Speaking of skill set, anytime that we're looking to be able to build business or we're looking to be able to grow grow the results that we're currently getting on our job, then we can understand that there's a certain area that we need to advance our skill set. And I'm going to share with you a common mistake that I made early on in business. I've been a self-employed entrepreneur, small business owner since I was in my early 20s, well, mid 20s. And prior to that, I was a registered nurse. So I went to school, got a job, and I became a nurse. And I worked as a nurse for a while. And I realized I wanted to do something more in life. And I started looking at what sort of business I could start. And when you're a brand new entrepreneur or a small business owner, oftentimes what happens is you begin very quickly to realize you have to be a little bit of a jack of all trades. You have to know sales and marketing and admin. You have to be a little bit of a tax expert. You're part secretary, you're part CEO. You're kind of wearing all of the hats. And it can become overwhelming for a lot of people. And this is true whether you're trying to get started with some sort of kind of side part-time business, or if you're, just full on going head first and, you have your first small business or a small business of any size. Before you get to that point where you can hire a good CEO, right? Before you can hire a good secretary, before you can hire a good admin assistant. We're talking about when you're trying to start that business and grow that business, you have all of the hats. And arguably, it's one of the most exciting times and one of the most stressful times of building any business. And right then and there, you've got a lot of skill sets that you have to level up. This is true even if you've been in business for a while and you hit kind of a plateau. You hit a plateau in your business, even if you have a small business, even if you have a handful of employees, and maybe you're doing pretty good, but you're trying to break into that next level. You're trying to either open a second location or hit that next revenue goal, and you kind of get stuck, and you're like, what in the world? Like, why am I stuck right here? In some ways, it seems like maybe if you increase your advertising dollars, maybe that should increase your customers. Or maybe if you get more customers and your revenue model goes up, but somehow it seems like you're less profitable and you're trying to figure out what's going on. And you've got to level up your skill set. It's just you don't always know which area. Do I focus on getting more efficient in marketing? Do I do better with my inventory controls? And it can be a little bit overwhelming, and it can be challenging, and it can make you feel stuck, and it can become very frustrating. And I'm going to share with you that what I found out is one of the number one reasons that we get stuck and we get frustrated is because we're trying to be everything to everyone all at once. Listen, I want to give you a little bit of encouragement. You will figure this out. You will get to your next level. You will be able to grow that part-time business or that full-time business. Or same thing on the job. You're not going to stay stuck forever. You will figure it out. But no matter what you're looking to level up, I want to give you a tip that's helped me out tremendously. Most of the activities on your job or your business only equate for about 20% of your results. Most of the activities, most of the things you're trying to do. 20% and maybe even 10% of the activities that you do create 90% of your results. In business, maybe it's 90% of your revenue or 90% of your income. Now, here's the challenge. If we know that 10% of the skills that we're trying to develop and master and get good at produce 90% of the results, then that immediately says there's 90% of things that we don't have to master completely. Here's the challenge. A lot of times it's the 10%, those things that we know make the most difference that we don't want to have to focus on. So for example, in a small business, It's usually inside of that 10% is usually sales and marketing. Most of the time. There's one exception. I'll give that to you in a moment. It's usually sales and marketing. And it's like, you know what? I don't want to do sales. That's why I was trying to hire salespeople, or that's why I was trying to do this other thing, because I didn't want to do sales. I didn't want to have to meet with clients face to face. I didn't want to have to talk to clients over the phone or on Zoom. I was trying to get out of that, or I wanted to do something different. I didn't want my model to always be, work this way. Maybe you get to your first $100,000 a year and you're like, you know what, maybe I'm at a point now where I can hire somebody else, and you hire somebody else, they don't do, quite as good. And maybe that's the skill set you have to focus on. But there's somewhere in sales and marketing for a lot of us, that's what we need to focus on more than anywhere else, especially in a small business. But for a lot of people, that's what they don't love. Oh yeah, they may say, oh, I love sales, I love marketing. And you may love parts of it, but when you get into the tedious minutia of trying to, in marketing, for example, looking all of your metrics and all of your KPIs and all of your conversion numbers, KPI, key performance indicators, and all of your conversion numbers, and you got to get really analytical. Maybe that's the part you don't like. And maybe typically what we don't like, we avoid. But oftentimes the skills that we don't like, they give us the greatest return once we master them. But they can be the most difficult to master because we spend all of our time avoiding them. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to be really honest with yourself. I want you to look at your business. I want you to look at your current business where it's at right now, whether it's part-time, you're trying to get it off the ground. I remember those days. I remember like praying and begging, is this gonna work? Is this gonna work? And if that's where you're at, that's okay. But I want you to think about what is the most important skill for you to have in your business. I call it the domain skill. What is the most important domain skill that you must have? And by the way, if you're a small business, it might be your most important domain skill might be learning how to properly reassign employees, meaning reassign them with another employer. A lot of small businesses struggle with getting rid of employees because they don't like the conflict of having to fire someone, but you've got an employee who is, you got 3 employees and 2 employees are doing 80-90% of the work, but you got a third employee who's taking up all of your time and creating all sorts of issues, and they're just not pulling their weight. And the other 2 employees know it. It decreases morale. You keep hoping this other weak employee is going to get it, and you've just got to learn, hey, you've got to cut that. You got to learn to sever that tie and reassign them. It's not about firing them. It's about finding a better fit for them. Listen, I want you to focus on what is the most important skill you need to develop. This is gonna take a tremendous amount of weight off your shoulders, because when you focus on what is the most important skill you need to develop, then what you want to do is you want to start connecting. You want to journal. I encourage you to do this. When I master this skill, I'm going to be able to do what? My business is going to look like what? What you'll find out is the business that you're wanting to create is going to become far more fulfilling once you master the skill that you're trying to avoid. So instead of focusing on what you don't like about the skills you're trying to avoid, now what you want to do is you want to focus on what's going to happen once you acquire those skills. And it's a daily thing, right? It's kind of like working out. You don't want to work out every day, but you do it and you feel good about it. And you love the idea of what working out's doing for your health and your mobility and your strength. So you like the results it gives you, just don't like actually doing it. It's the same thing in our business. It's the same thing on our jobs. There's things that we don't like to do that we know that we need to do. I want you to start journaling, and it may need to be a daily thing. When I get good at this, or as I get good at this, this is what's happening. And then here's what I want you to do. Every single time you lean into the resistance, success comes from leaning into the resistance, but you gotta make sure you're leaning into the right thing. That's why I said first, identify the skill that is most important for you to develop to help you take your current business or your current position to the next level. And then lean into the resistance to develop that skill. Now here's what you're gonna do. On a daily basis, I want you to journal only the positive results of you leaning into that skill that day. You got better in some way. You got a new client. You got a good connection. You had a good follow-up. Or, use the example of reassigning the employee. Maybe it's a matter of setting in clear boundaries and guidelines that if you don't meet these guidelines, then we need to shift you to another employer who may be a better fit for you because you may not be a better fit for our culture. And just putting in those guidelines and then just sticking to those guidelines, sending out that first warning letter, or having that first meeting where someone didn't meet the guidelines. And if they don't meet the guidelines 2 or 3 times, then they automatically get reassigned. You see what that does is it takes the burden off of you. That's a whole nother tip for another day. But I want you to understand something. You are in the position that you're in right now because you're supposed to be there. The goals and dreams that you have right now, you are not going to be able to accomplish with your current skill set. I believe God gave you those goals, and I believe that God gave you those dreams to give you a chance to level up your skill set, because the skill set you have today isn't going to get you to where you're going. But you have those goals and those dreams because you're going to get the skill set. Do you follow me? You're going to get the skill set. It's not where you're at, it's where you're going. That's in business revenues, in profit, in lifestyle and income, in job promotions. It's not where you're at, it's where you're going. And because that's where you're going, it means it's not about the skill set that you have, it's a skill set that you're getting along the way, along the journey. First step, the next first step to success, which is going to be in Houston, Texas, September 29th, 30th to the 1st, this Friday, Saturday, Sunday, October 1st. That event specifically, First Steps is always incredible. We're always honing on certain skills. But we're specifically going to be looking at helping you get the promotion that you want to get at that First Steps to success. I mean, we might as well call that the first step, the level up conference, if you will. I mean, it's not really called that. It's called First Steps to Success. But that specific conference, the curriculum is being created and it's being shifted and shaped now with a very specific goal. We're going to have whole new sections at that event that's designed to help you get that next promotion, to help you level up. You're not going to want to miss it. Listen, I'm going to tell you something. If you're a small business owner and you're trying to grow business, you want to be at First Step Success. If you have no employees, you're going to learn how you can potentially hire your first employee, or you're going to learn the type of employee to look for that's going to be a good fit for your team. If you are an employee and you're like, you know what, I want to get that next job promotion, there's going to be a very specific section there on helping you get a job promotion. One of our recent coaching clients literally just gave a testimonial, and she said the specific script that Jackie used, I applied it, and immediately I got a raise on my job. And I plan to share that script at that First Steps to Success event coming up in Houston. So you're not going to want to miss it if you're an employee. Now, if you're a small business owner and you've got a couple employees, one of the challenges that we have is communicating what we expect out of our employees and giving them a fair chance to be able to level up. We're going to be talking as a small business owner. Of course, we'll be showing you ways that you can communicate to your employees better. But what we're going to do for your employees, I encourage you to bring any employees that you have at that event, because one of the things that they're going to understand about you is that you want them to rise up. You want to be able to give them raises for better performance on the job. We want you to be able to provide incentives for people who show good value. But it's important that they understand most employees think the employer doesn't care. And that may be the case in some cases, but it's not the case in vast majority of cases. Most business owners care about their business. They want their business to do well. They want good employees who are a good fit. They want everyone to work together. They want morale to be high. They want a good community environment, almost a familial environment where everyone's supporting each other and everyone's working independently, part of a cohesive team. And that First Step Success event is going to be all about helping you build that team as a small business owner. So you're not going to want to miss it. Again, that's going to be October 29th through September 1st. The event is going to be at Houston. It's expected to be a big event. When there's an event in Texas, typically the show up is really, really good. So just know the event hotel is likely to sell out. Airfare is going to go up. So I recommend that you go down below, go to the events link, or go to destinyglobal.com, go to events, First Steps to Success, get registered right away. But here's what I want to leave you with right now. Identify the core domain skill that you need to grow your business, or to get that next promotion, or to level up next. Lean into the resistance and journal positive progress every day. Our brain always goes to the negative. It always goes to the negative. It always goes to, oh, I don't want to have to work out this morning. Very rarely you spend more time focusing on what you don't want to do. Then you get done, you're like, great, I feel good. And you don't ever reflect on the fact that you got your workout done that morning. What you should be doing, if you're trying to reinforce the fact that you're working out every morning, is reinforcing the fact of, man, I worked out this morning. Man, I am someone who can get up and work out. Man, that felt good. I feel strong. My whole day's better because I worked out this morning. How many times do you tell people, oh, I feel awesome because I worked out this morning versus, oh, I hate working out in the morning. How often do you complain in your head about working out? I'm just using that as an example because it's something many of us can relate to. At some point, we've attempted to work out in our life. So that's just, what are you focusing on? Our brain naturally goes to the negative. That's why I want you to journal. I want you to physically journal. I want you to because when you journal, several things happen. You have to think about it in your mind. You literally, not only do you think about it in your mind, you verbalize it to yourself. You put pen to paper and you reinforce with a physical action. You write slower than you think. So it forces you to slow down and appreciate the positive results of what happened as you celebrate the successes of leaning into the skill set that is your primary skill set that you need to master. Listen, and if you're thinking, Jackie, I need more than one skill set. Yes, you do. Absolutely. But if you can master your primary domain skill set and stop avoiding doing the things that you know you need to do, if you can instead embrace it, get good at it, identify as someone who's very, very good at it, you're going to pick up another skill set. Let me give you an example. When I started in business, my primary thing that I did was sales over the telephone. It was an internet business, but I actually picked up the phone and talked to my clients. And I did that for years, over 15 years. Early on, it was like, I got to master this skill. And I did. I made $70,000 my first year. I went several months struggling, bam, figured out a few things, ended up doing $70,000. My second year did $120,000. Then I went to build a sales force. I went to build a sales team. And then I had to master a second skill. It was being able to create duplicatable, simple systems so people didn't have as long of a learning curve as I had. I mastered that. We had a sales organization that ended up earning over $100 million in commissions, meaning the entire company did way more than revenue, but $100 million got paid out in commissions. Why? Because I focused on my first skill. I could have never mastered creating duplicatable systems had I not mastered the first skill of being able to get really good at being able to do sales and marketing and prospecting on my own. And then I was able to create duplicatable systems. You see, I had to master both of those skills and a few others to achieve that, $100 million success. But I could only do that after finding one skill that I leaned in on. And I did exactly what I'm telling you now. I marinated, I focused, and I journaled every single time that I was having breakthrough, every single time that I did the thing that I didn't necessarily want to do. Even creating duplicatable systems. You know how many people complain about something not being duplicatable when you're trying to create something duplicatable for everyone else? That was a struggle in the beginning. It was rough. And then at one point I thought, you know what? I can just create the simple, fastest system. And I found out that wasn't always a perfect solution either. But I figured it out. And to this day, I'm still really good at developing duplicatable systems for organizations and teams. And it's what I do, it's what I coach on part of the time. So I'm here to tell you, just because of where you're at today, you might see what looks like an incredible barrier, but I promise you can break through it. Lean into it, get better, level up. And by the way, show up at First Steps to Success. Take your teams with you, take your spouse with you, bring your kids with you if you want, especially if you got older kids, bring them with you if you want to see them be able to level up. I'm going to be at that event, and I'm going to be one of 3 speakers that's going to be speaking to you at that event. And I promise you, we're going to do everything we can to give you far more skill sets to help you level up your life and help you level up your business, to help you level up your income. I look forward to seeing you there. This is Jackie with Destiny Global. I'll see you at First Step Success. Thank you so much for being here.